If you can delay this flight, I will appreciate it, but I leave it up to your will. And I felt that the Lord had impressed me that He was going to work it out. So I had a great flight from Paris to Chicago. I arrived in Chicago, and the first thing I did when I got off the plane was go to the monitor screens and look at the flight information. My flight to Chattanooga was delayed by 44 minutes. I thought, if I hurry, I will get through immigration, customs, and then maybe I can catch my flight home. So I did just that. I went through immigration, went through custom. The line to recheck my bag was too long, so I took it with me from International Terminal number 5 to American Airlines Terminal number 3. I gave it to an agent at the counter, and then I went to go through security. When I got through security, I found out where my gate was, and so I ran there. It was the last gate on Concourse G. And when I get there, I see the airplane parked outside the door, but the gate door is closed. So I go over to the agent and I pleaded with him and I said, I'm just arriving from an international flight. Please, I got to get home. He says, too late. He says, you can catch tomorrow afternoon's flight. So I picked up my briefcase and my violin, and I ran to a customer service counter, and I pleaded with that agent, and I explained to him. So he picks up the phone and calls the very agent that I had just talked to, and he says, I've got a passenger here from Paris. He needs to get home. And he says, sure, send him down. So I grab my violin and my briefcase and I run back to the gate. And when I get to the gate, I see the agent opening the door. So I'm excited, right? He closes it behind him, walks down the jet bridge, and leaves me right outside the door. He's gone for 4 minutes. When he comes out, he looks at me. He doesn't say a word, and he goes back to his computer. So I pick up my violin and my briefcase, and I run back to this agent that had been so nice, and I explained to him what had just happened. And so he picks up the phone and calls this agent again, and he says, why didn't you let my passenger on the flight? He says, well, if you tell him to get here in the next 30 seconds, I'll make sure he gets on the flight. So I pick up my things again, and I run back to the gate, and this time he's got the door open. He's waiting for me. I give him my boarding pass, and I start running down the jet bridge. When I get to the end of the jet bridge, I turn left. And there was an agent standing in front of the door of the airplane, which was closed. Now, I don't know if you've flown before and have noticed this. They will open and close the gate door. But once they close the door of the airplane, that's it. And the lady there on the phone is saying, I'm sorry, but nobody told me there was another passenger coming. Now, mind you, I'm exhausted. I'm out of breath. I'm sweaty. I'm worn out. I stood there and I was frustrated. And I closed my eyes and I began to talk to the Lord. And I said, God, I thought you told me I was going to get on this flight, but look, the door's closed. And then I sort of stopped and I thought, well, who am I talking to? I'm talking to God. I said, Lord, I know that if you want, you can still open up that door. But if you don't, I know you're going to work things out for me somehow. I stood there for just a few moments, and the agent got off the phone. She looked at me. She didn't look very happy. She looked at me and she says, sir, you must know somebody because they just told me to open up the door of that plane just for you. I got on that plane. I made it home to Chattanooga, but my bag didn't make it either. The next day I went to Hamilton Place Mall. I can say that here. I can't say that anywhere else. People don't know what I'm talking about. I went to the mall. I got a brand new garment bag. I filled it with clothes, and I was able to make my next flight and my next concert and my next trip. But the part that I want to come back to, which is why I'm sharing this story with you, is the words that that agent said to me. Now I know what she thought. Because I'm a frequent flyer with American Airlines, she thought that I had to know a supervisor or somebody in position at Chicago O'Hare Airport. And I had talked to them, and they in turn had made a couple of phone calls to get me on that flight. But what she didn't realize is the person that I know that she was talking about was God Himself, who can open or close any door, who can remove any mountain if we come to God in faith and we ask Him. I believe He won't disappoint us. John 15:7 says, if you abide in me and my words abide in you, you shall ask what you desire, and it shall be done for you. We need to focus on Jesus, my brothers and sisters. Not this person, not that person, because we're all human beings. We're going to fail and we're going to disappoint, but Jesus never disappoints. And I'd like to invite John Stoddard to come up. And together we're going to do this song titled, "The Church Has One Foundation."